Take two. Big it. Ooh, man. I'm not going to talk about it. We're going to wait.
What?
However, this is a fantastic day.
It is. This was an unplanned Thursday night podcast.
Yes, it is.
We're on the second edition of it, and we have a very special guest.
All right, well, let's wheel it back a little bit. Should we just pop the hymen on this? And we have a guest. This guy's he's been here. This is his 10th visit back to the Dudes Like Us podcast, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Randy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Viewership going down.
Do you mean we lost the one listener?
Yep.
Yes.
Ah, damn it.
You know, we have figured out how to get ourselves onto YouTube. So we're on YouTube, and we're already getting banned. We've been on less than a week. We may be kicked out in less than a week.
Flags and strikes and appeals and all sorts of crazy shit that Sean's dealing with.
I think that should just celebrate your authenticity.
I agree.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Meaning it's an honor to get kicked off of YouTube.
I think so.
It's a badge.
You know what? That's what I said, but then again, we want to reach more people because we want to reach other dudes like us that that talk about this stuff and and have some opinions and laugh and say we're full of shit and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, so great point. Are they giving you constructive feedback on the potential banning?
Not at all.
Well, that doesn't encourage any dialogue or understanding.
Basically,
does it?
if they don't agree, they shut us down. Is what I'm.
So no growth opportunity.
No,
Zero.
yeah, we got shut down for COVID misinformation, but they don't tell us what we said that was wrong.
So here's let me give you a scenario. So first of all, Jeff found out through we upload our podcast through what we call rss.com. So we have a membership out there, and we upload to that, and they have a service where they spit it out everywhere.
Yeah, it's very nice, very
They
convenient.
put it on Spotify, Apple,
Yeah.
all the services essentially.
And they just added a few other extra features. Like they just added one where they will create text or
It's a transcript of your
a
podcast.
transcript of the podcast, which is kind of cool. So it was painstakingly. You have to click on it, and I mean it's not that big of a deal. You click on it, but you have to monitor it. Well, they just all of a sudden started coming up with the YouTube thing, where they will start sending it out to YouTube, but you have to click on it. And so I did, Jeff started off and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And we saw the video up there and I was like, this is really cool. So we got them all set up. I started uploading them. These guys were on vacation and, work was kind of slow this past week. I mean, I'm still busy, but still. I would take a little break. I go out because I have a laptop sitting out in the living room, and then I go in my office work. I keep them separate. God bless, I'll get too distracted. And I come out there and I click, because you can only do 4 at a time. And then I also have the YouTube channel open because as they're uploading, they have a YouTube studio that you have to start looking at it because once it gets uploaded, there's like a little analytics that will pop up and it starts analyzing. They got GT chat. What is that?
Chat GPT.
Yeah, so they have some sort of program that goes in there and analyzes the shit out of it. So let's just say we do a little song, an 80s song, doesn't matter what it is, and you play a little insert of it. Could be 30
We're
seconds.
talking about it, right?
And we're talking about it. We play a little bit of a insert of it, and it will show. It'll say, "Hey, there's a copyright infringement." It'll say, "But it's okay. It's acceptable because this one, nobody cares about. So it's okay. You can have it on there." But my point by saying that is that it knows where it's at. So it'll say it is between 19 minutes, 30 seconds in, all the way up to 20 minutes, 5 seconds. So it gives you a nice little range of where the fault was. And you go in there and you just say, you click on it, hey, I want to dispute this. This is for commentary. It's not really for, we're not doing anything to, we're not mashing it. We're not making money off of it.
God knows we're not making money off of
No
it.
money yet.
I mean, you go through the process and most of them have come back and they're fine. There was, the COVID is... that is just, they are stonewalling any conversations about COVID. If I were to say something about COVID, saying, well, the vaccine doesn't work, or
Oh my God! Don't say that.
Flag.
What are you doing?
or it does work. I'm just saying, if you have any animosity, or if you say something negative, or if you have an opinion, And you're even if they're spouting facts, like what is his name, JFK Jr. What is
Yep,
his-
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah,
Yep.
so he was just chatting on one of his platforms saying, I can't believe they had canceled me on YouTube, and he was just like they canceled me because I was talking about things that are facts.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
this isn't an opinion, and they completely struck me off the platform. Well, we got our first experience, so they completely deleted it. But my point of bringing up the prior, they were saying they have the copyright infringements, and they showed you exactly where they don't do that with the COVID. They just flat out deny it. Hey, you can't talk about it. And to me, and to most everybody, that should be a big offense.
Well, they should tell you the area that we talked about and what's in dispute. They just can't say, there's something on here we don't
That's
like.
exactly what they do. And
It is.
I appealed it, and they said, appeal denied, mark. Or strike, whatever it is.
But to Randy's point, like if they don't give us any information about what exactly the offense is, how do we fix it? How do we grow? Like you made the point about growing. I mean, wouldn't they want to tell us what the infraction is so that we can go, oh yeah, you know what, you're right, we probably shouldn't have said that, or F you, we are going to say that because that's the truth. You know what I mean?
I think Google
It's crazy.
has Google's on their high horse. Google is owned by people that have a lot of control, and they're I want to say brainwashing, but they are, and they want to control the narrative of whatever it is, and it sucks. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, louder with Crowder,
Yep.
completely spouting facts, and he got it canceled. Joe Rogan, hell, they want to cancel him on Spotify for talking about ivermectin.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, but
something that's like
he makes Spotify way too much money.
yeah, well, they're not going to cancel him for that. But however, you had these people that wanted to. They're just like, well, the World Health Organization has ivermectin on there as one of the oldest medicines they have out there.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's just
It's weird.
it's frustrating, and especially with us with trying to a new thing like uploading the YouTube videos. I was excited, and we started getting some pushback, and I'm like, why are we getting pushback on this? Oh, it's copyright infringement. Okay, well. All right. I don't want to use or misuse any artists' music that they worked hard on. They need to be paid for stuff, and rightfully so. We were doing commentating, so
Right.
it's just like, well,
We were talking about Xanadu.
Yeah.
Songs.
we were doing actually, Xanadu got Let's Get Physical, Xanadu, and they completely blocked us. But the crazy thing about the block is that we're only blocked
In Belarus.
in Belarus, Russia. Yeah, the rest of the planet's fine, but they blocked us there.
well, they love Xanadu
they-
in that country.
And then the other ones
They
were
love
Barbara Streisand and Barry Gibb.
Oh, Batty.
Really?
Nice.
That one got
What?
flagged?
What kind of fool tears it apart, tears it apart?
Well,
Yeah.
see, if you keep doing that, I would make sure we take this
It's
podcast
definitely
down.
Dudes Like Us podcast. Second
Yes.
half, and we already mentioned it's January 29th, right?
We did.
At some point, yes.
Yeah, in the first half.
Andy, come on.
What? I missed the 29th reference.
Oh, well, it's today's date.
January 29th.
I said June. Did I say January?
He said January.
Okay.
Oh,
'cause that
June
was like
29th. I'm sorry.
my
Yeah.
wedding
Yeah.
anniversary.
They
like,
both
you guys
start with
bunking me?
J.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Close enough.
Did you guys ever see the Sasha Cohen
Sassafrasa?
video from 4 years ago about Facebook and
There you
messaging and giving power to evil people? You should rewatch it. This is very timely about censorship and what should be allowed or not.
Say it again. Who's
Sasha Cohen, the comedian.
Oh, okay.
He's,
yeah.
he's
Borat.
Borat.
Borat, yeah.
Borat.
Yes.
And he does a really good thing because he says there are literally people out there on social media saying like the Holocaust didn't happen. Okay,
Oh.
we have reckless, evil people doing things.
do.
Yeah, shut that down. Dudes like us is not evil. We need to look at intent,
Right.
of a group and what their objective is
Right.
for the moment. And I actually like a little bit of a measure of control on misinformation, but can't we blanket that and say, do we have to put a disclaimer at the front of the video that these are the opinions of these people and it's not the
Right,
facts? Like,
right.
let's put a disclaimer out there and let people hear what they want to hear and make their own opinion.
Sure. We're not experts.
Because as soon
we're
as
not
the-
experts in anything.
Because as soon as they say, okay, that's not the truth, well, then they have to be the authority that knows the truth, and then they have to have the responsibility to just.
Well, if they're going to ding us anyways, we might as well just say, hey, look, Dudes Like Us, we are the authority on everything. And what we say rules.
There you go.
We're not the authority in anything.
I was going to say it's the exact opposite.
It's
probably.
usually we get half our stuff incorrect.
But you should watch that Sasha Cohen thing.
two-thirds.
He said it's pretty interesting. Like, freedom of speech is not freedom of reach, which means people who want to do hateful things should not have a platform, to reach
to
a
do
third
so.
of the planet.
But here's the thing.
That fair statement.
Well, yeah, but then if the people are being mislabeled that are saying things that are hateful. Like they banned Trump for telling the truth. It's just like.
What I don't get is
what is the truth?
Is
right?
they'll ban Trump and folks like Louder with Crowder, but the Taliban has a Twitter handle or Instagram.
And Iran can. God,
know?
Don't get me started. All right, so. Do we have anything fun to talk about?
Shift to the drink. Have we talked about
well,
that? We already did that.
We're gonna delay that just a little bit because we have some cool sound effects that we're gonna add. So, like Paul was mentioning, Paul's been a little delayed, kind of catching up on the podcast. He's starting to catch up now that he's sitting on a bench, but. But when we talk about the bourbon, we've got a little sound bite like.
Oh, okay. We're gonna tee that up.
It was funny
I do it
about
when I edit.
I had
We'll hear
heard,
tonight.
yeah. So Jeff just kind of pulled an audible and added that to the podcast without Sean or I knowing. And then Sean, of course, is listening to like 4 podcasts a day because I'm not sure how busy he really is. But anyway, so he hears it and goes, "Dude, that was awesome." The soundbite, and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" Right? But I'm the kind of guy that I'm so far behind. I start at 1 and then I go to 2, and I said, "Screw it, I'm going to go to the newest ones now."
Okay.
And then we were in the car driving back from Colorado, and then we said, "Yeah, what are we drinking tonight?" And all of a sudden it goes, "Dum dum 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 dum." It's cool, and
Nice.
and my wife was like, "Dude, that was so cool," and I was like, "It was cool. I remember
was.
Sean talking about that." Anyway, so we're kind of going outside the box with some innovative.
We're trying to anyway.
Yeah, we're trying to make it a funnier experience, I guess.
When was the last time, with that excitement, your wife said that's so cool? Like Reagan was in office?
So yeah, actually, that was a first. That was a first for me.
Wow, he was in the movie
And I
theater.
immediately pulled over, and she was like, "Keep driving."
Yeah. Good try.
She just looked at you like,
Try to be
I
optimistic.
misinterpreted her excitement. I think for something else. But that's okay. You got to jump at that opportunity, I guess. But anyway, so
I do have a fun topic to bring up.
Let's do it.
In a safe bubble with my friends, dudes like us.
let's do it.
I think you could entertain a sliding scale on blood alcohol content and proficiency in driving, and it should be customized to the individual.
Ooh.
I agree with that.
How do you, from a law enforcement
do you,
perspective?
here's how you
take
do
in-
it.
Do you take into consider? Oh my God, what's the word? When you're used to something.
Doesn't matter.
Tolerance.
Tolerance. Oh my God, I got a total brain fart.
So here's how it works. We roll up to the DMV or some government-approved entity.
Okay.
It's BYOB, of course.
Then you do a beer
You show
every
up.
hour.
You show up. You start. There are people who won't pass with 0.0. We see them on the roads every day.
That'd be Sean.
Should not have a
Correct.
driver's license.
Sean sips a beer and says,
And
"Oh
then-
my God, I'm drunk."
And then there are people who could be like 1.25, 1.5, who are better drivers than people at 0.03. I think it should be customized to the individual. And everyone has their number.
Ooh,
It's
man,
on
that's
their
a tough
driver's
one.
license. Oh, of course, we can't legislate. It was more of a fun, let's explore it for a minute. But
But it is
You know
kind of
what?
true. And look, I'm gonna bring up a couple scenarios.
Okay.
All right, let's bring up prior to me talking about my video game skills. Let's talk about Babe Ruth. All right, Babe Ruth. He was drunk as shit, and he pitched a no hitter.
right.
All right.
There's been pitchers out there who've been stoned and high on all kinds of
All
shit.
right. Let's talk about
And
me
they're
going to a
effective.
bar maybe
Interesting.
20 years ago, 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago.
Hypothetically.
Shit, I'm old.
Never really happened.
I used to play darts a lot, and I
Okay.
got shit faced. I'd get shit faced a lot, but when I played, I would hit I'd be shit faced, and I'd still be able to hit bullseyes.
Right.
Come on, I mean, there has to be something to be said about
so
that.
part of
It has merit.
Yes. Part of the problem is this. I've had a number of friends tell me, "Oh my God, I drive better when I'm buzzing. I drive better when I'm drunk." And I try to explain to my kids and my kids' friends, it's not about staying between the lines. We can all stay between the lines
About
with
being
with
cognitive
several,
of what's around.
But can you swerve out of the way or hit your brakes in time when a kid on a bike jumps out in front of your car after you've been drinking?
Right.
It's really about reaction time, right?
And awareness proactively. Like, I bet we
Proactive
all...
I don't think
awareness,
kids need to be
perfect.
driving bikes on the street at 2:15 a.m.
Yeah. Like, I'm
No,
sure
I'm talking
we...
about 3:15.
We all
At
look
PM.
through the glass of the car in front of us to see the brake lights of the car in front of them. And
Right.
we brake before the car in
Yep.
front of us.
That's it.
Like, those
Exactly
are things,
right.
and I'm like, then let's test this stuff so that, let's face it, dudes like us, most of us have the burden of driving when we all go out.
Right.
So then we got to be puckered up, watching what we have
Right.
to be at that 0.08, which is like
We got to be smart.
one beer
Right.
in like 35 minutes, and you're
I
like,
know, it's not a lot.
And they're like, what are you doing? Are you having any fun? I'm like, of course I'm fun, but I'm stone cold sober.
Well,
know?
the
Right.
flip side of that is when you have a dudes like us moment where you're out and you're having a lot of fun and you have to go home and you have a designated driver that says, "Oh, I'll drive. I'm not going to drink," and he gets pulled over and. I'm throwing stones a little bit. Not really, but it is. I mean, it happens to everybody.
happens.
Yeah.
And you get pulled over. Oh my gosh, we got so lucky.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lucky. I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Yep.
I was drooling.
I think
but-
a lot of it had to do because you were drooling.
Yeah, I was drooling.
Little
I'm not sure if
sympathy.
it was drool or vomit, but
Oh, God.
Like a special needs kind of sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of special needs stuff going on there.
Honestly, I've said before,
I think the officer felt bad about it.
I think
Yeah,
that
you're like, oh, my God, look at your friend.
I think that all driverless cars should be funded by alcohol companies because their consumption will go up 40% if we all had driverless cars.
Probably.
And
You know that's where we're headed.
And you know who else should sponsor it? The guys who have the medication for liver disease. Like, let's put the whole life cycle together and profit from it then. I mean, if we're going to do it, let's not kill each other drunk. Wow, that was kind of a bomb. You guys have all the eyebrows you're thinking right now.
Well, I mean, it brings up a lot of argumentative things. So, I mean, it ties into like the whole automated car program, which I'm not a proponent of at all. I think it's cool. It's a novelty that may be cool in some communities that you have, but I don't think it's good for general population.
Did you see? I saw the article today where Tesla came out and says their next big hundreds of billions of dollar industry or business they're going to build is the AI for the cars.
Yeah.
Great.
So here's my thought on that. It's just like I think you got to be all in or not at all. And when I say all in, I'm thinking that you can drive your car, but you need to have some sort of networking.
Override or...
Well, I'm talking about, like, let's say I have a car, I want a regular combustible engine, and I want to drive it myself. Fine. But you may need to have some sort of network device on your car so that other cars know that you're there, just so that you're a node on the map,
Sure.
essentially. And I think that it would take that type of cooperation.
So you think everyone would have to have a node, even if you're walking? Maybe it's their phone,
Possibility.
or something like that. So the car goes.
yeah.
Ooh,
There's
pedestrians and
Right.
bicyclists. Good point.
Yeah, it gets thick and convoluted with government control.
Well, then you start
and,
getting into
and
everyone's
cutoffs.
tracking me.
I actually don't think the node's required on the pedestrian because the car senses an object. Could be a bush, could
It
be a
should
fire
be.
hydrant, could be a human. But with 5G, it's supposed to be within inches versus 4G, which is feet. And you need that precision for cars,
For sure.
for clash detection. I think it's just an object. So I don't think you have to have a node on the other side.
Yeah, but it'd be cool. I mean, like in a utopian kind of style, and I'm trying not to. I don't want it, first of all, but in a weird way, I wouldn't mind it. My conflict I'm having is that I'm so afraid of government control.
Right.
It's really what the thing is. It's because they're going to take something that's cool that could be used to enrich our lives, really, and they're going to use it to.
To know exactly where you are,
They're going to
what
use
you're
it for
doing.
control. They're going to use it to
Yep.
shut you down.
Yep.
And it's, I know it's kind of conspiracy concept, but
It's not.
It's the way I feel.
All right. Well, I want to talk about that in a second, but I think the reason I would like it in cars is if insurance companies would agree to give us money back and charge us less, which they will never do.
Right.
No.
Are you
But-
tying that in with the drinking?
But if machines drove more than humans and accidents should go way down because most of the humans, let's be honest, the average human, not a great
Well,
Yeah,
what if the
data
machine
set.
decides that human isn't worthy enough to drive the car and crashes it on purpose?
Ooh, decides. So it's got an AI decision making
God bless.
ability.
It happens. They got to choose. Am I going to go left or right?
Skynet.
If you have the decision processing of a computer that's going to weigh the value. All right, do I drive the vehicle into a 4-person vehicle, or am I going to veer into a school bus?
To what?
they're-
What, for the sole purpose of killing you?
Well, I'm just saying, no,
There's
not for
two
killing me.
options.
But let's say there's something that's imposed for whatever reason.
Oh, okay.
And the car has a decision. I got to kill a family of 4, or I got to kill a bunch of kids in a school bus.
So
It's
this
got to make a decision.
ties into your part 1 I missed, but I'll take a leap of faith. It's just like off the submarine rescue. The machine will quickly get into your bank accounts and see the net worth, and it'll pick the cheapest.
Oh, like who's worthy of saving?
Ouch.
Who's worthy of saving?
Or it'll also do a AI calculation on a jury verdict.
Chat GPT doing a quick calculation.
In about 3
He gets
seconds.
sued over here. He's going to lose this much over here. He'll be fine.
You know, that's scary.
That's fucking scary.
That's disgusting, is what that is. But it's so true.
But I do think as much as we've evolved as people, we consume way too much media which is based on drama,
right.
which way overvalues life. I hate to say it. Like every movie, we have to be torn to pieces when someone dies. Like, can't we celebrate they had a good life? It's over. Back in
Like
the day,
the premise of every Disney movie.
back in the day, we lived till we were 30. We were disposable. Oh,
Right.
well, you had 5 kids, 4 died. Oh, okay. Now we're like, God, scenes and Beyonce music and oh my God, a life was lost. Like we have really snowflaked the hell out of our lives.
Let me make sure I understand this. You're saying that the value of human life is not as is really
It's
not
been
that
really exaggerated, guys. Listen.
But you're saying it's not as important as like before. Or?
I'm saying we have overvalued, like, celebrate the time you had. It's going to come to an end. I don't want people miserable
Everybody-
when it
I
ends.
think
Move on.
I think
but
I
everything's a
understand.
movie.
Right,
I think you
right.
understand. You want to celebrate the life they had instead of celebrating the sadness that they're not there.
Which is
anymore.
all movies are made off the drama of the sadness and the reaction of this torment, because what that means is an indirect reflection of how much I loved you and now I'm devastated I've lost you. Like it's we literally act in our lives mimicking Hollywood. And it's
Yeah.
just not
Yeah, but I think what you might be discounting, in my opinion, is the emotion that humans feel when they have loss. I mean, that's real.
I'm saying that
That's
I think
real, and you can't tell them not to have that.
No, definitely not doing it. I think a lot of
Right.
people are mimicking how they think they should respond based on what they consume in the media. And I think you can just say, like, I don't want my kids and wife, like, sad for 2 years, can't eat, can't live because I'm gone. I'm like, go party, live. Like, we had a great run.
Right.
I mean,
No, I hear you.
like, don't, and I think movies just kind of, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's inherent human emotion. Like
I mean, but
Well,
like,
I don't think
grief
that's
is.
I don't think that's influenced by.
Well, grief is a natural human
Correct.
process.
Correct.
I think it's when it stretches into year, 2 years, 3 years, that it becomes an issue.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That is. Yeah.
Or
Those
or-
are people that have, they lack coping skills because
Right.
they haven't dealt with that.
I
Yes,
think it also
yes,
comes.
yes,
I think it's also maybe thinking about it now, but instead of on your deathbed, if you were dying today,
Right.
would you tell your wife to don't hang up on me, grieve, and then move on, find someone new?
absolutely.
Oh, of course I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've already told her, spread my ashes in St. John, make it a party, take the life insurance money, invite as many as you want, blow it out, save it, don't care, but have fun, and then find the next guy. I'm like, what is she supposed to do?
Right.
Like, is honoring me living the rest of her life in misery and trying to be like this mourning widower?
Right. I hear what you're saying, because it's like how many times like
How selfish and narcissistic is that of me, right?
Even my wife was like, if you were to die, I would never marry again. And I was like, and
See,
that shit.
that's what I'm thinking.
And I'm like,
my wife would
no
be like,
way.
"Really? You're just saying that because if I die, you want to go have another."
Now, Paul,
And I'm like, I totally rebut that. I was like,
now to qualify, if she says I'm never marrying again, but I'm going to be a Tinder Gold Star member.
Right. Okay. You know what? To be fair, she didn't say if she would do that or not. So
Because once you marry once and you do that thing, maybe, yeah, but you can find alternatives.
You could have all
You know,
kinds of
but
fun
she
without
makes-
marrying.
Tinder Gold Star.
but she makes
such a thing?
I made it up.
But she also makes the joke. It's like
Is it Tinder or Tender?
And we've said this.
I think it's Tinder,
Tinder.
and there's
It's Tinder.
Hinge, and
It's
there's
Grindr,
Bumble,
isn't it?
Grindr, and
Grinder's the gay people.
That's what Sean has.
are we sure?
We've been through this.
I think so. Yeah, we've been.
I remember-
Sean denies it every single time.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Tinder.
now because we've discussed this, but the grinder, no. I don't even know. I thought it was Tender, but it's Tinder.
Tinder.
Tinder, yes.
Tinder, I think, is correct.
Right.
Well, I think that married folk shouldn't really even know that exists.
Way to play dumb there. Are we buying his ruse?
We're
I'm
not.
buying
We're
it. That is
100%
bullshit.
not.
Where's the boost it button?
But is there an
that's
age
true.
limit there? So if you're 95 and your wife is 91, are you telling her go have fun, go find someone new?
I mean, if your hips, if your hip replacement surgery can
If you
hold
can-
on,
if you
go.
can withstand the
Right.
Dude, if
thrust.
that windshield wiper reservoir's still working, juice it up, man.
By the way, at that point, look, we all know it's probably less physical, but emotional. Find something. Find
Correct.
comfort.
Right.
Right? Like
No,
you
you're
only
right.
live one life.
Hey, get
No,
companionship. is what
I
you're
agree
looking
with
for.
that. I totally agree with that. But you know what? One of the jokes my wife makes is like, and we make this joke as well. It's like if you were single and the bar scene would be horrible.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, I would not wanna
Imagine,
these
imagine
days.
trying to find somebody, and you know, and we're not the generation that goes to Tinder or goes to. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe we are. I don't know. But you know what I mean. And so she is more coming at this from, oh my God, I can't imagine going back out
on the scene.
in that scene if you were to not. I mean, and that goes for divorce or death.
I think the silver lining I would say is if at our age we want to actually date people our age,
Right.
not 20 years younger and try to be stupid,
Right.
they're probably of the same ilk. And
Yeah.
you could probably find some people that want to sift through the noise and actually have a genuine encounter.
Well, yeah,
you
that's
know what I mean?
Yeah, that's TwilightLove.com.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah, if
it's
if
not.
you're trying to date the 25-year-old, then you're going to have the problem because she's
No.
probably going to call the cops on you if you try to talk to her.
I mean, that's why
Right.
you Tinder that for 6 months and then you move on and find a real relationship.
Right. I was thinking 8 months, but yeah.
Grieve in the vag. That's going to be, we're going to be censored.
Yeah, for sure. You should have called it bonus hole.
yeah, it's called bonus holes now. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a new
This is a
terminology.
new term?
The
It's a new term.
the
Just this week.
community
What's a
has
bonus hole? I know 3 holes. Wait,
The-
nostrils are 4, 5,
Well, we
ears
had
are 6,
this-
7, eyes are 8, 9. What do we got left?
well the vagina is now supposed to be called bonus hole.
Wait,
because-
what's the obligatory base hole then?
I had that discussion.
I
we
thought
don't
it was-
know.
We're doing the non-pregnancy route. That's what the girls
I
are
thought
doing.
I thought it was mouth. He went with
No.
anus.
Oh yeah,
so,
it's the poop shoot.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
Sean went
So-
with poop shoot for sure.
So there. Hold on. Is this what was the date on this? This says 2020.
I don't know.
Why bonus
Really?
hole is getting viral?
Why
on
do they have
Twitter.
a peach that is stone fruit
So-
on there?
Gross.
All right. Well, after spending a little time on social media today, you may be wondering what is a bonus hole. What was the term? It's all over the Twitter feed. 2020, Joe Cervical's Cancer Trust in partnership with the LGBT Foundation and blah blah blah. According to their glossary, a bonus hole is an alternative word for the word vagina, and recommend checking to see which words would be they prefer to use. Well,
They suggest using front
Front
hole.
hole. Oh, front hole or back hole?
yeah. Paul,
Top hole, back hole, front roll.
Paul, stop acting like a back hole.
Oh, really? Well,
Interesting.
that's better than what you call me.
Oh, what, bonus hole? That whole thing is just absurd.
It's so stupid. Well, you know what? And I wanted to say this in the first podcast. So they're bending over backwards, trying not to, catering to people who would be offended because they identify as a woman, but they don't have a vagina. They and in the effort of doing that, they alienate women.
Well, they're trying to erase the woman, it appears. You can't even
But-
call it a vagina.
but
You
that's
can't
the-
call it breastfeeding.
But that's my point, Jeff. They're not trying to erase women. They're trying to They're trying to be very sensitive and not offend men who want to be women. But in the process, they're erasing women.
Yeah.
What is that? What's the swimmer's name?
Who?
The
swimmer.
male swimmer.
Leah Thomas.
Wow.
We don't have a producer today.
Wasn't she in
Paul.
Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Right?
No kid. Paul, you just have that on the tip of your tongue.
Well,
he sure did.
This dude's in the news.
What about the other
every
female,
week.
the one that was contesting it? The one that was
Something
Riley Gaines.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't have a producer right now, so
Yeah, we're flying blind.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, so Riley Gaines was she was in Congress. She was speaking her ground. She did pretty well. I mean, considering I don't know what the president of the human rights lady was there. I forget the young lady's name, but she was like, oh my gosh. I mean, they were trying to ask her a question. It is absurd the way they try to answer these questions with just stupid.
Because they don't want to be offensive. They're being so hypersensitive to not hurt feelings.
Oh God! But they're just wrong. It's kind of like, well, I mean, do you think that men should swim with the female swimmers? And instead of answering the question, they go off on this
This
weird thing, and I'm just like, man, come on.
She answered. She goes, well, there was an article that said men couldn't beat Venus Williams at a tennis match.
Oh my gosh! You know what Venus and Serena said?
Riley Gaines quoted them.
She said, "I'd get destroyed. It would be 6-0-6-0."
And
Serena said
and
that.
do you remember why?
Because they're just bigger, faster, stronger.
No.
It's okay.
No, because that happened. They said at one point earlier in their careers, they said that they could beat any man outside of the top 200 list of men.
And then the 203rd one.
They played the 203rd guy who was a 50-year-old dude, and he crushed him. And he played them back to back.
Yeah.
And after that happened, that's when they were like, okay, we get it. They had the humility. They had the humility to kind of acknowledge.
And that's what Riley Gaines had shared in Congress. And she also shared that, her accolades in her school, her record. And she says, I'm an established, accomplished swimmer in the college world. My husband is stronger and faster than me, blows me out of the water, and he
didn't win anything.
Yeah, he's nowhere near me, but he could beat me any day of the week without even trying.
Right. And back to your point, that's what Venus and Serena Williams said, that if they were to play one of the top men's players, they would destroy them in minutes, like 6-0-6-0.
Right.
And they acknowledge that.
So what are we trying to solve here?
They're trying to not hurt the feelings of men who want to be women.
They
That's
should
it.
not.
That's it.
They
But
should
at the
not
same
be
time,
doing it.
That's it.
And you've got these folks walking around with pussy hats, back when Trump was in office, and they're trying to support women, and it's just like
that movement's gone
every
on at this point.
step of the way. It just seems like we're going the opposite direction. Where are women at?
Right.
I mean, why where are the feminists not defending women's rights? I mean,
that's what I told my wife. I was like, this is not really going to change until you, the women, the female, stand up and say something. This is
say
ridiculous.
enough of this.
Why would any man, even considering switching, want to dominate women in a sport or an activity? What kind of narcissism or selfishness?
That's the part
is
I
that?
don't understand. I don't understand that.
Why don't we just then? You know what? If you want to win in that way, let's have a baby making contest.
Right.
Right. We're gonna get pregnant and deliver a baby in 9 months. Go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll lose every time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is unfair. Well, wait. What are we talking about?
That's what we've been talking about.
Why can't I don't understand why any male would want to convert and dominate women in a sport activity. I don't understand what the soul is broken that they need that.
And when you see the video of Leah Thomas standing there next to the women, I mean, it's laughable.
I think
like he's tall. It's like he clearly doesn't belong there, right? And that's a great question. How are they okay with that?
Are we such an affluent society now that we can focus on stupid shit like this?
Right.
Yeah.
Like we don't have survival anymore. We're so idle's the devil's playground. We literally have to get distracted and have a new cause, no matter how ludicrous. Is that where we are?
The amount of time and energy and money and conflict that has been poured into transgenderism is stunning to me.
Yeah.
And it came out of, I don't know if it came out of nowhere, but it ramped up extremely fast.
So fast. It's like, who gives a shit? They're like 3% of the country. Who cares?
There's a new growing group of folk that have drank the Kool-Aid, and it's our children. It's a group of younger people that are, and they don't know any better. Ignorance is bliss. I mean, they're taught in school. They're being coached in college. They're kind of like, I mean,
they're being brainwashed.
You have mentors that are telling you these things, and it's kind of tough. Who's telling the truth? You got teachers in elementary school that the school curriculum period. They're the ones saying, well, we're not going to tell your parents that we're going to give you a sex change. Right. So we can keep this secret. That is nonsense. That is my child. It irritates me because if you're gay and you want to live your life like that, I respect it. Tear it up. I don't care. I've got friends that are gay. I don't care. I don't have any disrespect for any of them.
Live and let live.
God
do your
bless.
thing. Do your thing.
In fact, I get along with guys. I used to have roommates that were gay. I don't care. But you chose that lifestyle because you have a certain feeling. That's argumentative too. They didn't choose it. They're like, well, I am gay. I didn't choose this. I get it. I don't mean to trample on that. But what I'm saying is that you can't have kids. All right, you can adopt kids, but because you can't have kids doesn't give you the right to program my kids. Those are my kids. They're not yours.
Right.
Those are my kids. I paid for those kids.
You think programming's happening?
Absolutely. In school?
You think gay couples are programming young children?
I don't know if it's gay couples.
I'm not saying it's no. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that this is the school. There are forces out there, the cabal. I don't know exactly what it is, but they're trying to dumb it down where they're allowing kids or male kids that want to be a female to go into these restrooms, and they're damaging. Riley Gaines nailed it when she was just like, well, why is there a male in there changing clothes in my locker room? In the women's locker room. And they said, well, we got around the idea. We got around it because we made it a co-ed locker room. Okay. So she said, okay, well, right there, you just admitted that they were male.
Right.
All right. I didn't sign up for this. My friend over here didn't sign up for this. We didn't sign up for this. I want to take my clothes off in a female locker room. Why do I have to be exposed to that? That's the whole concept of it. And it's just like they're trying to shove it down your throats. But the sickening part of it, what I was talking about with school stuff, is that they're trying to hide this stuff from the parents.
Right.
And having this pride stuff in school. I don't want the school curriculum. I don't want federal, state people telling my kids about this. I want to program my kids about telling them what gay people are. The schools don't need to teach that. They need to teach English, math, history.
Yep.
And if there's an elective,
it does not belong in school. Any of that stuff.
But if there's an elective and they want to learn about it, it needs to be readily available. It does. But it's just, I don't think they should be force feeding it. It shouldn't be part of the normal curriculum. It should be something that it's an elective and it should be available. I don't know, man. It's conflicting. But I know that the kids are the ones that are the ones that are getting twisted, and those are the ones that are making the decisions in the next generation, and it's just getting fucked up.
Oh, thank you for that. That was a great, thorough explanation because I didn't know where you were. That makes sense to me. We shouldn't be educating on certain things like that, like sexuality or criminality or thing. We teach them, like you said, science,
subjects,
math, language. The rest of the morality code is taught by the family structure.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that line. I just didn't know where you were. That was a good expansion. I think anyone who wants to be transferred, I fully support it.
Yeah.
I just think you need to live, when you do, which is great, you need to live within a couple of parameters. Like you should go into a restroom that is what you are so that you can't maybe be violent to somebody that's opposite because you can be physically dominant. Like those are things. Like there are certain guidelines that I think are reasonable, and I think now if they were to counter to me, well, I could go into there and I could get beat up. I'm like, okay, but let's look at the number of cases on those things, and then we'll make a judgment. I think, and not competing against women. I mean, that's I think there are fair guidelines.
The number of cases.
There's very reasonable guidelines.
So you're talking about the number of cases of people that actually get beat up?
Well, that's
before
what they're
they-
going to counter with is, oh, I don't feel safe. They're going to say women don't feel safe if you come into our restroom. They're going to say, I don't feel safe going into a men's restroom as a trans because they're going to come, some hate guys are going to come in and beat the hell out of me. That's what they're going to argue. I'm going to say, let's watch the data for a few years, and if none of that's happening, let's respect women their whole lives. Like, you watch any history show, since the beginning of time, they
So
worry
do we
about
need-
getting raped and
do we
dominated
need
their
three
whole
bathrooms
lives.
Of course.
Well, we have neutral ones and individuals, right?
I just got
So
out of California, and
Yeah.
they have gender neutral ones.
unisex everywhere.
There we go. That
I,
solves,
I'm not
that solves
against
that,
that,
problem.
but it doesn't. It doesn't solve it, because then you're gonna get a lot of weird shit going on. Because now you have a private area where you're gonna have children that are. I mean, can you imagine if I'm able to go to the bathroom with my girlfriend?
You don't have a girlfriend, so can we have a realistic story?
Let's
or-
pretend I'm in 10th grade. All right, and let's pretend I'm in high school.
Yeah, he's
And
right. He's right.
Let's say, am I going to take my girlfriend to the bathroom and have private time?
Everything that's designed to be like intended to have a positive effect ends up being exploited.
Well, there's an outlier that's always going to exploit
Always
the situation.
We talk about that. Like they pass laws to benefit a certain class or solve a certain problem, and it ends up creating way more than what they were trying to solve because people exploit the law. Right, and that's exactly what you're talking about. Where people are going to exploit it.
I'm
and
not
then
telling all
and
of
then-
them, but
and then
it's
they're
gonna
gonna-
happen.
And then they're going to say, "Okay, no one can go into the neutral bathroom.
But
only
Randy's-
one person."
One
But
person
Randy's
at a time.
argument's the same for that. It's just like, all right, well, how many people are going in there and beating up trans men or
Right.
women? All right. Well, how many people are going in there and having sex in neutral bathrooms? So, or hanky-panky. It doesn't matter. It's about opportunity.
Right.
And I feel bad for the confusion. We used to joke about it as a kid, and it's fucked up. Actually, my dad's the one. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. But there's a kid I grew up with in my neighborhood. He was gay. I don't care. I mean, I hung out with him. His name was Paul. And
Whoa!
No,
I
his
did
name-
not know you as a kid.
Winky
his name was Paul, but it was funny because he would be like, he was like, "What's your name?" "Oh, my name is Paul." And I was like, "Oh, Paul. How do you spell that?" He's like, "It's like Raul, but it's Paul." And I was like,
Paul.
"You mean Paul?" Because I'm from Jersey. I was fresh. He was like, "You mean Paul?" He's like, "No, it's Paul." I mean, I just call myself Paul. And I brought him to the house because I didn't care. I mean, he throws the football. We're having fun. He's in the neighborhood. I didn't care. And my dad, he comes home and my dad was like, "Hey man, you know that guy's gay, right?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I don't care." And and I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell a joke. So my dad was like, "You know why his nose is big?" And I was like,
no.
"Why, Dad?" And he was just like, "Well, because when he would go to the bathroom, he'd go to the men's, he'd get confused and go to the women's, and he'd hit that little beam in the middle, and that's why his nose is big." And that's pretty crazy.
boy.
But you know what? But here's the thing. He said that, but when my dad said that to me as a joke, I thought really in depth about it because I'm like, there is, even back then, when I was 15 at that time, even back then I was like, well, you know what? He's right. There is a lot of confusion because during that time, he probably didn't know which bathroom he felt more comfortable in.
Right.
Well, he knew
Honestly.
he was a boy.
True.
There's a difference between and you're seeing a kind of a split, the LGB community and the trans community. There's a difference there. Gay men, I don't think necessarily think of themselves as women,
Right.
right? They're
like
a man.
that picture you shared this morning on Twitter.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. by the
Yes.
way. I enjoy watching men's penises like that. But go on.
So I don't think he was confused. He was a boy.
Yeah.
He knew what he
Well,
was.
I guess what I was driving at is even back then in the mid 80s, from my life experience, I recognized sexuality as being an issue based on what my dad said as a joke. I kind of took it serious. I was kind of like, you're right. He probably is confused. And even though he was using his nose being big because for whatever reason, it was just it kind of personified a huger deal. And I kind of accepted back then. I was like, all right, well, it didn't bother me because I was never like that. I was like, all right, well, it was kind of like Eddie Murphy, when he's like, you can play tennis with the gay guy, and he was kind of like, remember that when he said the delirious?
No.
And he was like, you can hang out with a gay guy. And it's just like, and after you're done playing tennis, it's like, what are you going to do? I'm going to go have a beer. What are you going to do? I think I'm going to go suck somebody's dick. It's like, all right, well, you go do that. And, but he's just saying that we can all get along. But sexuality is personal. It's personal for everybody. And I personally don't think people should be. It's just like if I were with my wife and I was over at Randy's house, my wife and I wouldn't be mugging down on Randy's couch.
Are you sure? That's not happening.
It's
coming
inappropriate.
Up?
It's because
I'm for it. It's
my
fine.
point is that it's personal. You wouldn't be out in public doing it.
Right.
It's just inappropriate. It's private. Your
It's like what
personal.
happens in the bedroom should stay in the bedroom.
It's a
it's-
swinger party Saturday.
It's
Didn't tell you
nice.
much.
Ooh.
I'm
The
not
tie,
bringing
we-
keys.
we-
Very
the tie
nice.
and- the key.
Got a key game in the hat.
The
Yep.
key basket.
Look, you get what I'm saying. I'm driving at that sexuality, regardless what you like to do, is very personal. And I don't like how they're dragging sexuality out into the mainstream for everybody to see. If you want to be gay, be gay. But
Yeah,
it's
it's like-
private.
it's
It's
like-
your decision, and it's your personal, private decision. Do it. Have fun. And if you show up at a party with the same sex person, okay, I respect that, and I don't care. It's I respect you. It's just like me showing up with my wife.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
if I
so
showed up with the dude, I should get the same respect.
it's
Should be
like
absolutely
the parades.
normalized. It should be normalized.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
like
no
the
problem
gay
with that.
parades and the tranny parades. What is the
It's
fascination?
Out of control.
Yeah, what's the fascination with showing a sexuality like
Because
hip
because there's
thrusting and
there's
being
still a lot
topless?
of
What is that?
I'll tell you, there's still it's not as mainstream as you think, and it's still got latent jokes and judgment. And until it's mainstream, they're going to keep doing the parade until it's natural.
Well, but
Yeah, but
they're-
they don't have any
but they're
heterosexual
showing up-
parades where men
That's
and
right.
women are being inappropriate.
So I took a course in college called Social Behavior and Deviant Control.
Okay.
And I was fascinated because my professor sent all of us this questionnaire and said, "When did you finally admit to your parents you were heterosexual?" And I'm like, "That's an idiot question. I
Right.
never had to."
It was default.
Because the default is that. So anything opposite the default does need some intellectual ability to avoid our animal instinct to ostracize or judge something different than us as a threat.
Okay.
So it's called evolution. So I'll give you an example. In the 1950s, if one of our daughters got knocked up, what did they do? Sent her away to she's on sabbatical
Boarding
at
school.
some boarding school to hide the
Shame.
sin. Nowadays, we don't do that. We still need to evolve. We think we're tolerant. We're okay tolerant. It's not a natural fluid for anyone who's in that situation. The language, everything, the fact that we have to talk about tolerating it, that means it's not
Not there yet.
ubiquitous and
We're not there
natural in the pool.
Yeah,
That's
but that-
exactly
yeah, but-
where I think
Yeah, but
it
that
is.
doesn't explain why these parades are so inappropriate.
Well, hold on. Let's
Ooh,
talk about
what
these
do you
parade
mean
things.
about that?
Well, hold on. I'll
Yeah.
show you one little
Right.
scenario. The parade they had a parade like within the last month where you got some guy, and his ding dong is hanging out,
Right.
and his
And they had
real
naked-
ding dong.
na-
And then
naked
they have guys
cyclists.
that have fake ding dongs, and there's just like that is inappropriate where kids are.
Oh.
It's sexuality, and it's just like, come on.
I don't
It's like
get it.
That picture on the TV right there. There's a person at the White House, Joe Biden's White House right now, and that's inappropriate to have a person out there like that. And it's look, it's private, and I stand behind it. And I know that things need to be normalized. Just like people can say that all kinds of things. People say that about marijuana. Marijuana should be legalized. Drugs should be legalized to some point, or at least regulated.
Yeah, minor attracted individuals. That should be normalized.
Oh my gosh! I mean, where do you draw the line?
Right?
Well, that's the whole thing about society and order. Where do you draw the line, right? And that's the hard part, and that's why these are fun discussions, in my opinion.
God, that's disgusting.
And I think at the end of the day, it's tolerance and understanding. I will tell you, one of my best friends to this day is a gay man, and he's been happily married for 30 years to somebody. And when we first met, he was, hey, and we were doing the thing, and he was trying to flirt with me and do things, and I think he was trying to become friends with me, but then the line got a little too far, and I said, hey, you want me to accept you 100% for who you are as a homosexual man, right? He's like,
Right.
absolutely. I said, well, then respect that I'm a heterosexual man.
Right.
And
Amen.
not try to flip me
Right,
as
right.
a fun sport. And he goes, I'm really embarrassed and ashamed. I was trying to be playful to make you friendly. I get, thank you. And I was like, okay.
It's about boundaries.
That is
Like,
huge.
that's a good conversation. And I think
Yes.
if humans had those, when there's a parade with a dick out, I could show you 20 photos of a frat party raping some girls. So it's like we all have the same problems. Like, let's clean our closets out, but like have
Hold
some
on a second.
decorum.
I mean, why
and-
you went all Kavanaugh on us?
no,
What's
you
going
were
on?
like you went very gay party and dicks are out. I'm like, well, there's frat parties with hetero guys like
No, but these-
we're
training
talking
girls.
about a parade with kids.
These are public.
Oh, they're
parades
videoing
down
it,
the
putting on YouTube. They're out in the public yard. Oh, why does that get a pass?
It does
come
not
on.
get a
because
pass.
they are kids in attendance at a community parade.
Look, I
That's
Who
different.
knows?
That's different.
I'm just saying, like, I'm adding a little context
I
that
know.
all of it needs decorum, which another subject we could pivot
you know,
to.
Randy.
Yeah.
Look, I strongly disagree with you.
Okay.
You know, and here's the, you're talking about something illegal. You know, raping somebody is horrible.
Okay, so I added some colorful language to
Right.
make it
Yeah, that-
entertaining.
You're trying to make a
I can
point.
throttle it back if we need to be measured and have a sophisticated debate.
Well,
I'm
no,
simply
look,
saying
well,
there's
you're
a
making a
lot
point.
of salty imagery out there that is just equal to what you just described that is in a hetero world and natural, and I'm just saying let's apply the same judicial lens to all of it.
right.
How about that?
So you're saying you disagree with them showing their dicks during parades?
No, I'm simply saying you applied it to one side of the equation. It should go to all sides.
I'm still waiting for the other side. You said raping girls and filming it.
Nope,
and I haven't heard anything
I've
else.
already backtracked that 10 seconds ago. You didn't listen
Yeah,
to the
I
last
heard
statement to
that,
put
but
it
I
back to
haven't
center.
heard the one after that. So we got dicks and parades, and then what's the other side?
Oh, so Girls Gone Wild videos. Everyone can see them. Our kids, our 9-year-olds, my kid
back
can
in the
consume
90s.
those right now. My kids can watch porn.
RedTube, porn,
For every video, every
Sure.
website in the world, there are 10 websites for porn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
That's
I'm
all.
just asking for
That's all
that.
accept-
That's all
that's
I'm
all
asking. I'm
acceptable.
not trying to win right or wrong here. I'm simply saying apply the lens of it's
Okay,
not
but
appropriate
you
to
have a
everyone,
public
hetero or
event.
homo.
You have a public event where kids are there. I just think it's inappropriate for minors to be out there where you got grown ass men what is it?
Twerking.
Yeah,
Twerking in their
in their
underwear.
underwear.
Got it.
And you're saying that's okay.
No, what I'm saying is, give me your definition of a minor. What age?
7, 6, 5.
Yeah.
What's the
super-
top end range you consider a minor?
Top end range.
I would,
considered
I would
minor.
age.
I'd feel comfortable saying under the teens.
I would
You know?
say. I would say 14.
14. So if a 14-year-old hetero guy gets his underwear stripped off by a hetero sports team and forced to sit out naked in front of a women's team for a hazing ritual, but it's all hetero, where are we on that?
Totally.
I disagree with that as well.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay,
Totally wrong.
That's the
100%
lens I'm
totally
asking
wrong.
for. That's the lens I'm
Yeah, that's
asking
wrong
for. It
as well.
happens everywhere.
Yeah, but that's different.
That's not the same as a community parade.
Yeah,
I think that's what we're talking about here. It's like it'd be like a July 4th parade. It's in the paper. It's on the the local. Here's what the events are happening
why is
this
it
weekend.
so important to bring out
Sexuality.
homosexuality, or any sexuality in a public event like that? I
Yes.
just don't get it.
And I'll meet you there by saying if they feel their angle to celebrate it is to be so overt, I would agree. That I totally agree with. Back to my friend who tried to personally be so
Right.
overt. I'm like, if you want respect, then be
Be-
measured and have decorum about it.
Decorum.
So I agree with that.
I was going to say normal, but
It
don't
just-
say normal. Say decorum. That's perfect.
and
word.
civility and
Yes.
right,
Yes.
right. It's don't
Yes.
be so overt to fight your cause.
Right.
Right to do it. So I agree with
Okay,
that.
well, that's a good point. So, it's because I struggle with understanding the mindset, like what we're looking at on the TV right here. Why did that trans woman think it was so important to go topless in front of the White House? Why do they have to be so overt?
Well, first of all, where's
that come from?
Okay, great question. And I'll strip the word
vulgar.
I'll strip the word they And I'll say
Even if
understand.
that were a regular woman,
Anyone-
it's still inappropriate.
Very much so.
Normally, any overt behavior,
Yes.
let's leave it at that, whether it's
There
a
you go.
child throwing a tantrum when they're 6 about not getting a candy bar. So I'm going to now neutralize it to safe.
There you go.
Anyone that has a very exceptional or outlier response or behavior to an item typically has pain and trauma
Okay.
or a feeling of such, whether right or wrong, but it's feeling to
so
them
in other words,
that has led to this that's bubbling over.
I get it. So
Okay.
I've been judged for so long. I've been hampered and constricted and made to feel. I've been made to feel so marginalized, and so that when I have an opportunity, I'm going balls to the wall. I'm going all out.
I also think part
I
of
get it. I get that.
I also think part of it is these people like that trans lady at the White House. They're influencers, and they do stuff for
Shock value.
clicks and
Clicks.
views.
For likes.
Oh,
I think
Yeah,
that
that
is a
specifically
component of
was
it.
true.
I think
They
that's a
were doing it
component
for-
to what she did. Was I think to get looks.
There's a time and place
Yeah,
for
that's-
everything, and
that's
I just
true.
think it's inappropriate for.
Oh,
for
that
some of
backfired.
these.
She actually apologized.
Yeah.
At first, she was like, I'm not going to apologize. I've been saying free the nipple for years and years and years.
and I'll tell you
and-
what. Have you
and she-
saw the video? Have you seen her?
No,
She's actually.
very attractive.
She is.
I know.
I
agree.
mean, I was kind of like, that's a freaking guy.
well,
You know?
for everybody that says it's inappropriate, can people say it's just breasts in a human body? What's the big deal?
That's
Oh,
what
right.
Europeans feel.
Come on.
in front of the White House.
Europeans are
though.
very free with their nudity.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Why-
Well, again, that's something that is. And look, I grew up in Germany. We had one.
You saw a bunch of dongs.
No, Jeff.
I don't know why.
I just trumped.
I don't know why I was expecting the word breast because that would never have come out of your mouth.
So they had
Dogs.
the Armed Forces Network for watching TV, and they had their other public broadcasts.
Dad, this place is great. Look at all these dongs, Dad. I love Germany.
But they would have, and I shit you not, I was watching like regular German TV, and they had like Zest soap. And they would have women showering, and
Yes.
you see boobies in the video,
Oh, yeah.
in the commercials.
That's
and
the
this
way-
was in the 80s.
That's the way Canada is. I went on a business trip to Toronto, and I was sitting in bed, just couldn't sleep, flipping through local channels, and I was like,
well, listen,
they're showing breasts in like a normal TV show here.
as Jeff is saying, if you normalize the human body and
Yes.
drinking, it's not a forbidden fruit. So we've hinted about a European or global view versus America.
Yes.
And we like to polarize and profitize, whereas
Sure.
they go, don't binge drink and be an idiot. You can have wine when you're 14 with your family. Like,
Yes.
go and do. Like, be a
right.
They don't think it's a big deal. By the way, breasts, you can go to Nice in France and people have their breasts out. Half the time, the ones that are out are not the ones you want to
Okay,
see
how-
anyway.
Right.
Hold on, how do
Who
you spell
cares?
that? Nice?
Yeah.
And where is that? That's south of
The Côte
hey,
d'Azur.
you know what? I'll tell you another little experience. We lived in Germany. We vacationed. We went down to Italy a couple years in a row, and we went to a place called Lagarda Lake. And we go out down to the lake and to the dock, and it was like, and I was young, but I still appreciated women back then. And there was this smoking hot woman, come down, and she took off her shirt, and all of a sudden, saploopadoof, and those two big old things popped out, and I was like,
Dad, look.
shit. No, Dad wasn't around. Dad was
No.
like he was back at the house, right? And
What noise do they make again?
Ploopadoof.
Ploopadoosh.
That was an interesting one.
Ploopadoof.
Okay, I'll have to work on that. But keep going.
Yeah, he threw
So,
a douche in the end.
What
of
was
his.
funny is that first of all, there's a long dock. So I said dock. So it's like
It's long. It's long though,
It's super long.
It was
It's so
Badoopadoosh,
long.
and she had a long
and it was
dock.
wood and hard.
Oh, God bless. Those planks were just driven, nailed.
Oh,
God.
So she goes down to the end of the dock, and she raises her arms up to dive in the water. And when she raised her arms up, poof,
Oh,
These-
the hair.
two big armpits full of hair, and I was just like, disqualified. But
Disqualified. The Badoopadoosh was so nice, but your didn't
But
work
my
for me.
point by bringing that up, and in the defense what Randy is saying, is that a lot of these things are culturally influenced, and they're instilled in your normal upbringing. And if your normal upbringing, you're not exposed to boobs being on TV with these Zest soap commercials or these women showing up to the beaches and Plubadoof, and you're not. Look, seriously. I mean, in the United States, it's not like that.
No, it's
I
not.
mean, it's not.
We're very private about sexuality.
Well, I mean,
for the most part.
And you look. I'll take it a step further. Let's step over into Asia, and so you've got the Asian folks out there. Their sexuality is crazy. I mean, first of all,
But behind closed
this
doors.
is going to be fucked up.
Is
But-
this misinformation? Be careful.
No, it's not misinformation.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get
Dude, look.
canceled,
You look at an Asian female. Look at an Asian man. I mean, they look almost unisex. I mean, there's a lot of times you look at this.
He
Is fucked
just
up.
launched a fucking bomb right now.
I
Bill.
Yeah,
did.
you
I
sure
did.
did.
Listening, he went. Douche.
Hey, look, it's
Yeah.
the truth.
I disagree.
Well, you know what? I disagree on certain ones too. But if you look at the general,
I have seen some very, very beautiful Asian women, and not for a second did I think, is that a guy?
Was that a dude?
Well,
Is that a dude?
I've actually,
Is that a long dong I'm looking at?
dude, what kind of bars you going to? You going to those little donkeys?
We saw The Hangover, right? What happens there?
All right. I guess what I'm saying is if you go into the culture of some of these Asian communities, sexuality is way different. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to say this.
But they don't express it publicly.
They have like red light districts that are accepted. That's just like, you go into this place and they kind of, I mean, part of their, those little, hold on, those Asian women with the white faces
The
and
geisha?
the geishas,
Yeah.
what are they called?
That's Japanese geisha girls.
Yeah,
Geisha.
with the black teeth. I mean, black teeth was supposed to be like a thing of beauty back then, but those were prostitutes.
Yeah, or concubines. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
I mean,
accepted.
What's the difference between titty bars, strip bars, Amsterdam, red light district? I mean, that's all over the world.
Some of your Tinder dates,
Ooh.
Yeah, all your Tinder
they just
dates.
want a free dinner for
all
it.
of them.
Yeah.
There was a little meme about some guy dating somebody on one of the apps, and he's kind of like, you know what? We're in the car. I picked you up. Hey, look, I'm gonna take you somewhere. I'm gonna, you're gonna complain about this. I'll tell you what. Here's a hamburger. Why don't you just give me a hand job? I'll drop you back off at the house, and we're done.
If
We're
you
good.
can double date, you have a 10 o'clock
I
dinner.
forget exactly what it was,
Right.
but it was
You can
hilarious.
double
So
up
not
your-
so much different. Is the point.
No, I think his name was Louis. Look, all right,
That's
we got to jump ship on this whole sexuality thing, but it's just I don't think I don't think most Americans are ready for that type of lifestyle.
Overtness.
And
It's
I think
overtness.
the problem with it is that it's not being administered correctly. And it's tough because because we don't grow up with it, we don't know how to handle it. And the trans sex thing is crazy for kids to interpret, or is it? Is it not?
No,
I was
crazy.
I was about to ask you guys. So we do a lot of great discussions, and I hope the audience enjoys it. What % of these issues are we really having to tackle with our kids in their real life?
Our
One-
kids, 0.
1%.
Okay, so
Well, I mean, COVID.
what data sample set then could we extrapolate? Like we're doing a great job of worrying and theorizing,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, how much of this is really manifesting? And I'm not trying to diminish our conversation.
Well, that's the
but
whole point. That's the whole point. We don't know where this is coming from, and we don't know why it's in our faces in social media and on every news story. I mean, where is this coming from, and why is it here? Because it is so low on our priority of things to worry about,
But yet we're
things
reporting about
and
it.
things that are that affect our country, but affect our kids.
So here's a great example to consider.
Okay.
We have a standard bell curve. We can all envision this, right? It's got standard deviations of the mainstream and outliers. For anyone who wants to look at their thesaurus / the thesaurus, it's called
Thesaurus.
a Gaussian curve.
Okay.
Let's give some credit. Most of the things we love to draw attention to and polarize, nice sound effect, is the outliers.
Yeah.
And so all of us get consumed trying to manage, discuss, deliberate the very small percent.
Yeah.
Every
That's for sure.
security camera, guard, gun in the world would never be needed if the 1% of violent people who did evil didn't exist or didn't do that.
Agreed.
Right? So the majority, thank you, sir. The majority, we have to discuss and scenario plan against outliers all the time.
Yep.
Which sometimes can feel futile and very time wasting. But it's good to be prepared for a conversation, for a situation,
Yeah.
which I hope our listeners are thinking about. Like, I hope none of these things potentially impact your life. But if
Right.
they do, there's been discussion, there's been deliberation about it.
Yeah. No, I buy that. As a matter of fact, I've even asked, we get so wrapped up in this stuff because we're in the news, it's on every news cycle, it's on social media, it's everywhere. I even asked my son, I was like, do you... how
They
often,
don't care
because
about
here's
it.
the thing, that generation, they're not glued to news like we are. They're not watching Fox News. They don't give a shit. They don't know what's going on in the world. They're like, what are you talking about?
They're
Right?
binge watching some show.
Right, exactly. They're on, yeah. And so I asked them, how much of this is relevant in your life in terms of friends that are struggling with their gender, somebody who totally came out as transsexual, and they're like, nobody, zero, nobody. Nobody talks about it, and they don't see it anywhere.
Right. So if
And
you
I'm like, what are we wasting our
well,
time
so
talking
think about
this shit?
think
man?
about the math. If it's pick a number, 2%.
Yeah,
So out of 330 million Americans, do the math. What's that?
right.
6 million maybe?
Right.
Is that the right or 600,000? I've drank too much to know. 10% is 33, 1% 3 million, so it's 2 million is 6, 2% 6.
It's a tiny
And then
number.
if you think about, you want to remember when we talked about how over dramatized we get when we die?
Right.
If you think about in your life, like how many meaningful people do you meet where like you've been a big part of their life and they've been for you, and when you die it should matter? Is it 100?
I'm going with one.
One.
No, two.
Well, there's
It's a
4 of us
handful,
sitting
right?
here, so that sucks for you. But
Oh no, definitely nobody
But, like,
in this room.
We're
So my
we're
point
doing
is-
podcasts that night.
so you already talk about 6 million in the whole United States, and then you talk about maybe having 100 or 10 friends of meaningful people in your life. The
Sure.
odds of these outliers are what you're saying.
Right.
And when they do interface with you, I hope our kids
Are respectful.
are having the astuteness not to be judgmental and
That's right.
literally understand and have a
Yep.
conversation. Like, what if I had not been understanding to that homosexual man who was hitting on me?
Right.
And I had said, "You're an asshole," and I punched him in the jaw.
Right. Stab
And
him,
instead I said,
stab him in the throat
"Hey,
and then go to jail.
I want to respect you for you want to respect," and we have a 30-year relationship.
Push him down and have
Right.
butt sex with him.
So it's like that. I think that no, sir. I think that's what we want to do.
That's
is like,
what we all go to.
I think that's what
our
we
go-to, right?
I think we ought to coach everyone to say when you're in
Oh, I'm sorry,
those
it's just
minutes,
whole
have a
sex.
conversation, have an understanding,
Absolutely.
not be a knee jerk. I saw a great college graduation speech that said, "If you want to know who the idiot in the room is, it's the cruelest person." Because
yeah, I can.
their basic instinct is biology is for survival. I need to cling to people who look like me, sound like me, think like me, are me, and I'm going to judge and ostracize that don't look like that. Evolution is your mind can override that basic instinct and learn to explore, tolerate, understand.
Sure.
And he concluded the thing that said the kindest people in the room are the smartest people in the room because they're literally more evolved that they will understand everybody's perspective, tolerate it,
Okay.
civilize it,
More
discuss it.
passive.
You
Nah.
say so you said cruel, not cool.
Oh, cruel.
Mean.
Cool.
Okay.
Mean.
The whole time you were talking, I was
Your
so
eyes
confused
were the wrong way.
because I thought you said cool, like
No.
COOL.
No,
I was
no.
like, why is the cool
Yeah, the
person
idiot
the
is
idiot?
the biggest cruel. Like, think about any
So
bully
Paul's
Totally
in a
get it.
why?
school.
Why am I an idiot?
100%.
Any
100% get it.
any bully in a school is the idiot.
That's right.
He's the village idiot.
Yep. Yep.
He is like, you're not 6'5" and on the basketball team, you're a loser.
Yeah, because
Right.
they're
and it
they're
all goes.
it's
from
their defense mechanism to make up
They're
for
literally
something in
still,
their life.
and what he's arguing is they're still an animal.
Yeah.
They've literally not evolved to the next species.
I get
think about it. So.
Yeah.
Or they have massive insecurity and they are attacking everyone else because they can't deal with their own problems.
Right. All right, I think we've talked to this one to death.
Yeah.
One thing we need to talk about is our bourbon. And this is one that Sean found, I think.
Oh, yeah. Actually, what happened is we got a. Well, I'm imagining the music playing.
Yeah, you go. Oh yeah.
All right, so we get so Paul, Jeff, and I are part of a small little community, and we get these little notes or text messages from the folks at Total Wine. Kevin, what's his name?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a total brain fart for a second.
And Scan.
Yeah, but Kevin and Stan, they will text and they'll be like, "Hey guys, so we have some stuff. You might want to come by and come get it."
Nice.
And I'll text a picture over to Jeff and Paul, and they'll be like,
Do we
and
have
Jeff's
this?
like,
On my way. I'm already there.
Yeah.
He's
like,
in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'm circling Total Wine as we speak. I was like, why the fuck do you do that? But I love it. I love it. Don't get me wrong.
So I mean, it's always one of us. I don't care what it is. What's going on, man? I'm kind of like, I'm right here. I was just here. I'll go right. But it's just, oh shit,
Wow,
that was quick.
they literally timed us.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So the Maker's Mark that we picked up that Kevin from Total Wine brought to us.
Very nice.
We ran over there and picked it up. It's 110 proof. The release bourbon showcases the influence of Maker's unique 110 barrel entry proof, also known as BEP, barrel entry proof. It was crafted and amplified the balanced wood sugars, softer tannins, and lasting finish achieved with our low 110 BEP. Look, I'm gonna repeat. This thing is 110 proof.
It's really good.
All right,
And
it's
it's
really good.
It's a little bit hotter than that, actually. It's 2023. It's a limited release.
Limited release.
It's
very good.
let's talk about it. It's spicy. It's full.
I can
know you
move
guys
this
hate
music,
it.
so keep going.
No. It's not. I don't hate it at all.
Oh, I like it. What
No.
I'm saying is it's
It is
spicy. It's got a. Well, the thing says the tasting notes, the aroma is toasty vanilla, subtle spice caramel, bright vanilla brown sugar for taste, and the finish with a medium body, balanced, rich caramel, dry bacon spices.
You know what's interesting? It doesn't say that it's hot, but it is.
Well, I mean,
It doesn't
it's
say
110
that.
proof. So
Well,
you
no,
just
I
gotta-
mean, but
Well, yeah, but
it doesn't-
some high proof bourbons are hotter than others, taste wise.
Ours is on the hotter side, so this is 55.35%, which puts it up to the higher end that they have there.
I would say for the next 2 minutes after a sip, it sits and hugs you versus punch you.
Right.
It's nice.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's always true. If you
It's
let
got
it
a nice
open
taste.
up. If you let it open up. Yeah.
Good companion.
So we have our guest Randy here tonight, and we kind of had an audible in the middle of. I did actually. And I was kind of like, because we started talking about the 4th of July upcoming party that's coming, and I'm kind of like, shit, man. Jeff and I are going, and we look over at Paul. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
awkward. So I no. I texted Elise. I was like, hey Elise, the third party of Dudes Like Us. She was like, fuck Paul. He's not coming. Fuck him. Fuck him.
And I was like, what happened? I've never even met her. Does she know I'm tranny?
Oh God!
Damn it!
You're
Couldn't
trading
resist.
for what?
Trading.
I heard what he said. So he was graciously accepted, but he said, since specifically you need to bring some bourbon, not part of our
I can do that.
it's got to be like a good one though.
I can bring your 10-year Henry McKinnon.
We're gonna have some
son
good
of a bitch.
margarita machines and tequilas to start the day.
Oh,
we
nice.
we can wind into the bourbon later. That'll be good.
Gotta ramp up.
That sounds like
that.
fun. That sounds like fun.
That's be
But
good.
we, it was the whole idea of going out over to your. The last time we went over to your house, it was just off the hook. I had such a great time, and I dude, seriously, it was such a great time. And you've got such a fantastic house. It's always a treat to go over there.
Hey,
the
listen.
limited time. Frankly, every time Jeff goes over there and you guys are partying, my inner monologue is like, dick.
So
Seriously,
listen,
I'm like, what the hell, man? What are we, chop fucking liver over here? How many times we got to invite Randy over here before we get a group freaking hug over getting an invite over to his house?
So we had some heavy topics. I hope they enjoyed it today, but we're wrapping up with some fun. Look, the 4th of July is coming globally. Let's have some fun.
Big deal.
Love
Yeah.
your family, love your friends. Keep it rolling.
Yep.
Amen. I love it.